Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.
All right, you could say it's fate, but it's a bit of a Galway special this weekend with the weekend that's in it.
You could say that.
You could say that.
Michael Moloney will agree.
You've shown up in your camo jersey.
Yeah, this was I think this was the 2018 hurling kind of sort of, I don't know, away training top. I don't think I've actually bought a jersey since. Not mad into buying jerseys every year anymore. I think it's a bit commercial. Like, I don't like the way football clubs have a jersey every year.
I saw you giving out about that before.
It's wrong.
Would you get over yourself? Well, you don't have to buy it. Say no. Parents are allowed to say no to their kids.
Are they?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal.
Why do you need a jersey every year?
You don't. It's
just undermines
fashion.
them.
It's not. It's fashion. It's style, and clubs should be able to express themselves in more ways than one
and make money.
What? How did the club put the best product out? How do counties? How do they pay for all this stuff?
You have a jersey from your past where you really like it just meant so much to you.
Yeah, when you were a kid.
It just doesn't mean anything anymore if you just change it every year.
But nothing means anything anymore, Johnny. That's how life is.
It actually doesn't. You're right.
There you go.
I agree.
But your camouflage jersey of Galway means something to you this weekend because it's the Galway Races. That was my segue, not into your rant about jerseys.
I better take it off between now and Sunday. It is the Galway race. And Sam Maguire could be at the Galway races.
Finally, 3 minutes in, you get to the bit that I was teeing you up for. Good man.
Nothing means anything anymore, except it does this weekend.
I think Michael Moloney might be with us. Michael, you can inject some sobriety into proceedings for us, please. How are you?
Good afternoon, gents. How are you?
I guess you are almost as excited as Johnny about the prospect of Sam Maguire being at the Galway races next week.
It is, isn't it? A fabulous occasion. It's such a strange thing to think that we have the All-Ireland final before the races, and it'll all be done and dusted. Usually those teams are hiding away in camp and we never get to see them at the races. So to be able to hopefully welcome him here with Sam Maguire in hand will be unbelievable. I think the city would be alive and certainly the racecourse would be too. So look, it's as I say, it's great for Galway.
I went to the launch, the weights launch on Monday, Michael. I ended up getting the last train home. It took me about 4 hours to get through Ayr Square. So the city's already alive, and this is before either the football or the racing, as it turns out. I mean, the place is absolutely buzzing already. Oh yeah,
Galway is, it's a great city, and I suppose it's a festival city. It's probably why I'm back here, why I'm based here, and we've come off the Film Fla. The Arts Festival is on here at the moment, and it's crowds have been huge for the last 2 weeks at the Arts Festival, and it's I think we're so far fortunate as a racecourse to be so close to such a great city, because that's what makes the festival that we have what it is. Really, it's the vibe in town, it's the vibe around the county, it's the party doesn't stop once people leave Ballybrit. It will happen right around the city and the county for many hours after the last race, and it's just it's a great city to be part of.
And just to clarify, if the Kerry lads show up with the cup next week, they'll also be welcome.
I was going to suggest that. I think they would. It's a very friendly racecourse.
I know. You look, obviously. All joking aside, we'll. There's anybody that comes to the gate here. They're always welcome. And I think that's what's the biggest thing about the festival as well. There is such a great welcome, whether it's at the racecourse or whether it's in town or whether it's the taxi driver or the hairdresser or the B&B. Everybody is here to make sure that anybody that comes to Galway, not just for the races, but as I said, the Arts Festival or anything else that's happening in Galway, everybody makes sure that they have a great time. And I think Galway's been named one of the friendliest cities in the world, and with many other accolades similar to that. So everybody's very proud of that fact, and wants to keep that I suppose atmosphere and mentality up there.
This is a reminder for anybody just tuning in. This is Friday Night Racing and Off the Ball, brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie. You can follow the Twitter account at HRI Racing, and the hashtag is every racing moment. We spoke over the course of COVID about the various racing that was happening, and I think everybody was putting a good face on a very difficult situation. But the reality is that full crowds at the Galway races is a transformative moment for the city, and I for one am very glad that whole period is over and that we're actually getting to go back to something akin to normality. Are you guys experiencing that kind of surge and adrenaline as well in the build-up. I'm sure there's concerns about the full numbers and being able to deal with them, but actually, you know, we'll all make do with what we have to, but the excitement levels must be off the charts.
Yeah, do you know, I was actually talking to someone only half an hour ago, and we were kind of having this conversation, and I think you hit the nail on the head. We were making the best of probably a bad situation last year, and it was great. You know, we had 1,000 people, and there was a lovely atmosphere there, but I suppose the last 2 weeks here have just been incredible. You know, it's almost something that we've forgotten about, the build up and the people that are back on site here that we haven't seen in 3 years, because we get so many people that come back year in, year out, and you know, they know their job and they get on and do it, and to see the marquees go up, you know, we've had the opportunity as well over the last 2 or 3 years to maybe change how we do things a little bit, and how people access the enclosure and the food and the beverage, and I think people will notice a lot of changes. Although they're subtle, there's still a lot of changes. There's a lot of new facilities in the enclosure. So, you know, the vibe for the team, we have a small team here of 10 full-time staff, and it builds from there. You know, we could have 2,000 people working here next week when you take catering, security, tote. You know, there's so many people that have an involvement here. And I was driving through the enclosure there this morning, and you can see like everybody's at full tilt. You know, they're working probably the hardest that they've worked all year, or probably in 3 years. But you know, they all know what it's for and what it's about. And I think people get such a sense of pride when they see so many people here and so many people enjoying what's on offer. And there'll be no doubt that we'll be able to cope with what we have, what we get here next week in terms of numbers. So, you know, we really hope it's strong figures, and we'll welcome everybody here.
Like John B. Kane is probably more associated with Listowel because that's their hinterland, but he said Galway Races was a state of mind, and that's what it is for me. Like, my memories of Galway Races are not so much of horses, but of what happened during the races, or people you met, or even other races that were going on, the crack in town afterwards, just this constant going back to what it was the year before, of meeting people you mightn't have seen in 12 months. And I know James Connolly said Ireland without the Irish means nothing to me. Galway Race without the people wouldn't survive, because that's what it's about. It's about that amazing atmosphere where the racing is, if it's not an aside, and the racing has become really good, but it's part of the whole package, and it's not fake. It's never trying to be anything that it isn't. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head, Michael, about the pride that people place in this meeting, because Galway has an awful lot going on, but the races in terms of popularity, it has never waned.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, you know, our racing is, you know, we love it, and we have some historic races, and you know, we have some handicaps, but as you say, it's not just about the racing in Galway, and it's for us, it's about creating a festival that targets everybody, from, you know, the person that's in the buggy to people in their more senior years, and everybody in between. And we try and offer something for all of those people. And you know, there can be a lot of dwell time at a race meeting in terms of, you know, a half an hour gap between races, but there's no dwell time in Galway. There's always something happening. You know, I think there's 50 live music acts right throughout the race course next week. There'll be stuff happening in every corner, and there'll be a buzz in every corner of the race course. And you know, I think that's why people love it, because it is, you know, people can be here for 6-7 hours, so it's a long day, but to have that atmosphere and that buzz, and to get to meet so many people, as you say, that, you know, during COVID we've all missed meeting people. And I think a lot of people will come to Galway next week to see people that they haven't seen in 2 or 3 years. And, you know, everybody just wants to have a chat with people again. And, you know, if we provide that opportunity, that's great. And you know, as you say, I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, I think, Ger, you were saying as well, like you know, you were kind of done with the whole pandemic situation, but that brought me back to last year, because I had this thing during the pandemic of just trying to block it out and just concentrate on other things, so I'd kind of forgotten that Galway was kind of like effectively owners last year, and I felt so sorry, Michael, for elderly people who were, we'll say, vaccinated, it's such an important part of people's lives down there. Some elderly people who that is their thing that they've done for decades, really, you know, and it'll be beautiful to welcome them back on Monday.
Yeah, look, and I think we probably, you know, we'd always probably said that up until 2019, but we never probably realised how strong it was until, I suppose, the phone started ringing pre our 2020 festival. And, you know, I suppose we weren't as busy. We had no one at that festival apart from the participants. And we got the opportunity to talk to so many people that, you know, loved Galway, and they were just ringing us to wish us luck, and that they were so sorry that they were missing it, and that they had, you know, they wanted to ring and tell us that they had been there for 30 years and that this was the first one that they were going to miss. So to see those people next week, and that's what we have, a new club that we introduced during lockdown, and that's kind of was born out of that, I suppose, to connect with those people. And when we started that club, we were thinking if we got 200 or 300 people into this club, it'd be great to get to know them. And we're 2 years in now, and I think we're approaching 2,000 members, and it gives people a real connection towards the race course, and it gives us a chance to connect with those people, because, you know, they're fans of Ballybrit, they're fans of what we do here, and it's great to be making that connection. And you know, there's some special items on offer for them next week, and you know, as you say, it'd be great to welcome them back, and I know they're going to have a good time when they come back here.
You've got Nathan Carter coming as well?
Sorry?
You've got Nathan Carter coming as well?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Look, we try to do a little bit of everything, and it certainly got the phones ringing anyway. And I think Wednesday evening, look, the Galway, I suppose we've always tried to, you know, focus on different days, and Wednesday is obviously the Galway Plate, and it's been running this will be the 153rd running of the Galway Plate, and it's unusual this year. We've actually seen a return to the more traditional days. So your Wednesday, your Ladies' Day on Thursday in terms of ticket sales. So I think Wednesday is actually, I had someone phone me this morning, and they were saying that everybody's looking for tickets for Wednesday, and we got many more tickets for Wednesday. So I don't know, is that Nathan or is it the Galway Plate? But look, if they're here, we'll take it, and I'm sure most people will enjoy a bit of both.
That's kind of the whole point, isn't it? That you come for one thing, you stay for another, but ultimately you have a good time. Talk to us a little bit about the actual future of the track, because I know there's big plans for redevelopment and investment in it, just to make sure that the facilities match your ambition for what the experience is like on the days that people come.
Yeah, it is. Look, I suppose, you know, if you have to keep changing and evolving, people won't come back to the same thing year in, year out, and people's expectations change over time as well in terms of the facilities, and that's probably what's driven us to where we are now in terms of the new facilities that we have on offer this year. But yeah, certainly, you know, the Galway Race Committee here have, you know, they've always had the foresight to, I suppose, reinvest in the facility. You know, there's been multi-million euros spent in the facility over the last number of years, and that's stood to us in terms of attracting people to the course. And yeah, we have plan information to, I suppose, revamp the whole eastern end of the race course. So that would be, you know, your parade ring area, a new pre-parade ring, saddling boxes, a new restaurant around the parade ring, and a new grandstand around the parade ring. So it's a fabulous looking facility. We spent a lot of time and effort to getting it to the planning stage and getting it through planning. Obviously, the last 2 years has delayed it slightly, but look, it's high on our agenda. It's something that we would, you know, love to get done and love to see done. And I suppose we'll be looking for the support of Horse Racing Ireland to get that over the line. But I suppose this year, the last 6 months was all about, you know, rebuilding the festival, getting our name back out there, getting it publicised, getting people here. And I suppose once we get through this festival, we'll probably refocus back onto that development. But yeah, there's exciting plans at Galway, and you know there always has been. It's nothing new, as I say. You know, the committee are always wanting to reinvest in the facility, and we've been around for 153 years and certainly want to be around for many more years to come.
There is an element of it, Galway as well, Gerard, build it and they will come, in terms of the quality of the racing, and the prize money for sort of the hurdle and the plate now is so good that you get like these horses that back in the day would have just been put out. Now they're trained for the summer. But Michael, I think a great example of Galway, how in my time the strength has just gone. It's gone to another level of being high class in certain races where you get horses winning and running in classics. And it's 20 years since Abunawas won the 2-year-old maiden for Kevin Prendergast. I think it's my first recollection of that race, and Kevin Prendergast hasn't had a winner this year, and I think next week would be a great time for him to do it. But Grey Swallow won the race the following year, which I remember quite well. Beat a horse for Aidan O'Brien's, was well fancied. Grey Swallow went on to win the Irish Derby. Dermot Well won it again in 2006, 2008, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2015, 2016. But in the last 5 years he's won that race once, because everyone now is targeting it, including Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah, look, and that's what's incredible about it. And I suppose going back to in terms of reinvestment, there was a huge amount of work done as well on the course back in 2012, and we did a huge project again last year on the track in terms of drainage and in terms of improving the quality of the surface. And no more that we're always trying to improve our customer experience and customer journey. We spend a lot of time out on the track, myself and Jerry Broderick and his team, and Larkin Weir, our clerk at the course, in terms of how we can improve the course, the ground quality itself, but also the layout of the course. And there is some changes this year in the summer festival. We have repositioned 2 fences down the back straight, so the regulation as well, and that's something we trialed last September, October, and the jockeys were very happy with it. So it is about improving the quality of the surface, which has allowed those I suppose good horses that have gone on to do bigger and better things, as you say. And people get a great buzz out of that. Anytime that a horse goes on to, win a real quality race after having run in Galway, our Twitter feed comes alive, because I suppose there's so many people that feel a connection to Galway, and they love the fact that they have been there to see that horse run or win in Galway. And they're delighted to see it go on to bigger and better things. So yeah, it's something that I think provides a bit of pride for us as well, to see those horses on those big stages and know that they may have started out in Galway.
You mentioned the ground as well. I spoke to Larkin recently, and he was telling me that you've been watering since May. For somebody who grew up in Galway, I find this absolutely staggering. But you were saying to me on Monday then that watering has been very, very common in recent years. Again, from somebody who grew up in Galway, this just seems completely alien to my... I was like, did I even grow up in this county? It seemed to be raining every second day, but that's just not the case anymore. I was there on Monday, and an awful lot of water is needed to keep it safe.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and it's I suppose puts a lot of strain on our team in terms of getting that quantity of water out, and yeah, as you say, I suppose we invested in a bridge watering system. It's about 14-15 years ago, and it was a bit of a joke at the time when it was put in, because it pretty much spent the first 4 or 5 years parked in the shed. It never came out. And the last this is my 8th festival, and I'm not sure that there has been a festival that we haven't watered for. And certainly the last 3 years, we've had to put out on significant amount of water. This year is actually, I know we had the weather warnings earlier on in the week, but this time last year was significantly hotter. We had 3 or 4 days of plus 30 degrees. We had 20 degrees at night. So we watered right throughout this week. We were actually watering 24 hours a day. This day last year, I think we'd done a few nights of 24 hours a day. So it was very strenuous on the team last year. We tried to get ahead of it a little bit this year, and we did that, and we're in a very good position at the moment. We've held off a little bit for the last couple of days. There is a a forecast of 15, 16, 17 mils of rain over the next couple of days. But if we get that on top of where we are at the moment, I think we'll be in perfect condition for Monday, and I think everybody will be very happy with it.
Well, listen, we wish you the very best of luck. You were great making time for us. I know it's obviously a very busy time for you, but I think everybody's delighted that the festival is back to what it should be. It's a real sign that we're back.
We also did get the hook. You're looking for that news hook. Sam Maguire is welcome to Galway, even if Kerry win it. Basically, that's what you said, Michael.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of. Maybe later in the week.
Galway people are so chilled out. I mean, there were images of Shaw Street this week with there's hardly Galway bunting up. Like, it's a lot going on in Galway. Like, so they're well able to park the football and say welcome. And if David Clifford comes, obviously it helps the crowd, and
he'll have a good time.
Yeah,
Michael, good stuff.
Very good. Thanks so much, gents.
Best of luck with the whole thing. It's Michael Moloney there from the Galway Races. In the racing itself, you were talking during the week about the weights. What's the crack?
So it's just, as I said, it's a race meeting that has been more so targeted by the good trainers, and because the prize money, and hopefully we'll have a couple of overseas raiders this year as well. I think we will, and you look at JP McManus kind of having his Galway plate winners, where there was memories of finger on the pulse. Somebody, I think Lorcan said that was his favourite memory, was from finger of the pulse, one for Tony McCoy and JP McManus. And JP McManus, if he's in Galway, will certainly be in good form after Limerick's hurling win. At the moment, the betting adamantly chosen for Willie Mullins is favourite for the hurdle, and Fire Attack for Michael O'Leary is favourite for the plate. Now, as much as I think the quality has gone up, I think people do love the story of the smaller owner winning in Galway, and I think that's part of the magic of it. And hopefully we might have something like that in the hurdle and the plate. Alright,
next week's Galway Races means the busiest week of the year for Tote, with over 250 Tote staff working at the racecourse each day. On Wednesday, Tote will sponsor the Tote Galway Plate for the 13th consecutive year with a prize fund of 270 grand. It's one of the richest jumps races of the year. Tote will also sponsor the stable staff canteen for all 7 days of the festival. For the first time ever, Tote's SP or better guarantee will be available at the Galway Races, while online at tote.ie there will be several promotions for customers, including a free daily jackpot bet. Check out tote.ie for more. Do you have any tips for us? I mean, that's kind of...
in the hurdle, I rather like the chance of Tax for Max for Willie Mullins. In the plate, let me get the betting up here. It's tough at this stage without knowing what's actually running in the plate.
Too far away for you to trust.
No, 1 sec now.
You're just basically filling time here. I'm opening the kimono a little bit and letting people see what's going on.
I mean, it's hardly very convincing when what do you fancy the plate? Oh, hang on, let me look at something here.
But I was doing that filling, so you wouldn't have to tell everybody.
Yeah. In the plate, I like Cape Gentleman actually. So the Cape Gentleman one is interesting because Emma Mullins obviously. I mean, I was in London for a brief trip to London. Get on the tube, and Sam Whaley-Cohen is sitting across from me. Who's literally just like, what are the odds? Sitting across from me on his day's work. He's not long previously ridden the winner of the Grand National, and the reason he won the Grand National was because they bought the horse off Paul Byrne, and Emma Mullins started the Grand National with a horse who didn't really look like an obvious type for the race. That's a long way of saying Cape Gentleman doesn't look an obvious type for this race, but he's unexposed and he'll be trained for it, and he's been prepped for it. And then I do like Tax for Max in the hurdle.
And of course, Noble Yates, who won the Grand National, as I was talking about, had won at Galway the previous October.
He actually had, yeah, which is no harm. And Emmett thinks outside the box, and I think that would help in a race like this. It's 9-1 the field. Fire Attack, a solid chance, but you need an awful lot to go right in both of those races. It's very, very tight track, and you need an awful lot to go right. I'm not sure actually who's riding Cape Gentleman. All will be revealed.
And if you're going, just remember Galway is the ultimate marathon, not a sprint.
Oh man, I was there. I think it was the Monday or the Tuesday of Galway.
Did you sneak out as a teenager to the Galway races?
The first time I went to Galway, I remember, and this was basically the beginning of the end of my life. The Yanks would come home, and we always said the Yanks would come home, even though they're born in America and lived in America all their life. So the Yanks are home. It's kind of strange, their parents must have, been inculcated this love of Ireland with them. So they'd come to the races. They'd bring us,
Your cousins.
the cousins, and they'd bring
Your Yank cousins.
the Yanks. The Yanks were home, and they bring you to the races. And the first time I was in Galway Races, literally everything I backed won. Like, and I obviously it was
12.
Sorry, I can't be telling this
At
on
the
national
time.
radio.
At
I mean,
those
at
times you
the
were
time. But
It was the done thing. Were you
there was
7 or 8?
I'd say it was. There's a photo of me. I think it was about 12.
Right.
All great future behind me and all that. But there was one race where I backed the runner up, and I walked away from the stands, and they're like, "Please hold on to your dockets. There's a steward's inquiry." I was like, "What's a steward's inquiry?" So I went back and grabbed the docket in the middle of the stand. It was somehow still there, and they reversed the result. So I even won on that, and I was like, "This is easy. This is brilliant. Look at me now." All these years later, it's great crack. One of my favourite Galway stories is I owned a horse called Sabras, and I've always said I wanted to win a race week in Galway, and I actually did have a winner race week in Galway, but he ran in Wolverhampton. I was going to Galway, and I had Gavin Cromwell train the horse, and he hadn't given me any suggestion the horse was going to win. He wasn't even that confident. So I get in the taxi, and the taxi like, "You're off to the races." Yeah. I've word for a horse. I was like, "All right." Where? Wolverhampton, a horse called Sabras. I was like, "What? I own him." Like, I don't have any word for him. So went into the Ladbrokes tent at the races. He won by a neck, and everyone was on him. Like, he was massive gamble, into 11-8 favourite Robert Winston, and an Irish gamble in Wolverhampton. Everyone was on him, and I had the penny on him. I was there anyway, at least he won. But that's Galway. It's just and that was the crack was only beginning then. Do you know that Goodwood is on? Wolverhampton is on. There's so much going on. I mean, a lot of us have fallen in love many times at Galway Races, and many will at this Galway Races. And it is about the people as much as the horses, I think.
Johnny Ward.
Have you been?
Johnny Ward, the Irish version of Hunter S. Thompson, talking about the Galway Races, the way Hunter S. Thompson.
We're in the
was
middle
talking
of
about
the
Kentucky
Keys
Derby.
when something started to take hold and so on. It is a little bit like Kentucky Derby is decadent and depraved, but it's also great crack.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah, always had a good time. Always have a good time at Galway.
Yeah. When were you last there? It does get harder as you get older.
I think we were there in 2019 for a night, but only for a night, and we had to come home to do the breakfast show the next day. So it's not the same.
Sometimes it's enough.
It's not the same.
Sometimes it's enough. And
But I'd have that next day off, or just roll over and broadcast through. But
I can't do that
days-
anymore.
Exactly.
I
The
just
days you
can't
get away
do
with
that anymore. No.
You'd get cancelled for it now, Johnny.
Yeah.
Or you might say something. Right.
Or both.
After the break, we're going to be hearing all about leading female amateur jockey Jody Townend, someone who made headlines herself at the Galway Races in the past. Friday Night Racing is brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie and the hashtag is every racing moment.
Friday Night Racing.
On Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie. Friday Night Racing.
On Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.
Right. Is there anything else you want to say about Galway there, Johnny?
Have a good time, and have a good time at the races. Hopefully, will the cup be there, Ger? Will the cup be there? I think there's better chance than is implied by the bookmakers' odds.
Well, I hope for your sake you're right, Johnny. And if that's the case, will you go down?
Oh, you'd have to, wouldn't you? I mean,
if they win on Sunday, you have to go home.
Not necessarily, but like if they're bringing the cups to races, I mean that'd be almost like the record attendance ever. I mean, whatever about 12-year-olds having a bet with the tote. I mean, there'd be definitely pushing the boundaries of the legality of how many people would want to come in. I mean, imagine the crack. Imagine the crack like Damien Comer and Shane Walsh in the parade ring with the cup on the Monday.
It wouldn't be the Monday. They'd be bringing it to
probably Tuesday, maybe Friday. Actually.
I don't know where would the stage be. Would it be Ayr Square? It probably would be.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't remember exactly 98, 2001. I mean, you do. It's an emotional thing. I mean, we always can remember Michael O'Donoghue and his dad, Micheál O'Donoghue and his dad, and crossing the Shannon and all that. But it's still a special thing to bring it, that spiritual thing of passing the Shannon, where the West was this kind of downtrodden place that was finally winning the All Ireland. Nothing downtrodden about Galway Races or Galway at the moment. Bloody, the place is absolutely heaving.
Why don't you marry Galway, Johnny? Why don't you marry it? Go on.
You love Galway.
You're going to move there.
You all love Galway.
You are.
It's the coolest
where you're
race in
going
the
to end
world.
up. Right, Friday Night Racing and Off the Ball is brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie. Now, ahead of the Galway races, John Duggan did make the trip down to champion trainer Willie Mullins' yard to talk with leading female amateur jockey Jody Townend. After some serious injuries, Jody famously returned at 2019's Galway Festival to win the Connacht Hotel Amateur Riders Handicap. John caught up with Willie himself, as well as Jody's brother, champion jockey Paul Townend, and champion amateur jockey Patrick Mullins. Enjoy.
Everything is fun for Jody and always has been, and even the bad days she'll take good things out of it, you know. So I think our outlook on life and our outlook on riding is very healthy and very good.
She is, she's a breath of fresh air. Jody, she's always laughing, always smiling. She really lifts the spirits of everyone around her, and she's well able to give a bit of stick as well. We're very lucky to have her.
Jody Townend, how are you?
All good, and yourself?
Not too bad, thanks. You're the leading lady amateur rider. We're here in Willie Mullins' beautiful yard. Champion trainer, Close Sutton, County Carlow. How long have you been here, Jody?
A long time now. When I used to come up on my school holidays even, you know, to Paul was here, so I used to come up an odd day, and say I was 13 when I first set foot in this place.
Wow.
Right.
Jody came as Paul's sister as a kid, just riding out. Paul asked me, could she come and ride out, and I thought, no problem if you think she's able to ride out here and handle the horses. And she was, you know, from day one, she was well able. She settled in, rode all the horses perfectly, you know. She was just a natural on a horse. She was very light. She was keen to do anything, you know, from riding work to schooling over hurdles and fences, and she was very good.
What are we going to be doing today then? What's your day-to-day like here in the yard?
We have boards inside there, and everyone has their own lots. So I have 3 lots. We'll have one first lot. Dad had him last year, and he was sold and ended up here. So it's nice I get to ride him out. And then I have Nikini. She ran a few listed bumpers and things last year, and she's just back in now. I'm assuming she's heading for Galway for maiden hurdle or something. I'm not sure. And then I have Mary Meehan, who ran in a maiden hurdle the other day. So on for the car then.
Willie Mullins, what's he like to work for?
He has his moments.
I think everyone else here is probably replaceable, bar Willie. It's his drive, you know, and there's more to being a racehorse trainer than training horses and getting them fit. You know, you have to get the owners, you have to buy the right horses, you have to manage horses, you have to manage jockeys. You know, I think Willie's jockey situation is you know, as strong as any trainer anywhere.
On the whole, he's a great boss, and you know, he understands racing, and something goes wrong, he wouldn't be long telling you, but like, he's 99% of the time he's straightforward to ride for, you know, and he understands the game, and if something goes wrong, he understands, and he nearly always have your back, you know. He's different, you know, he has an eye for a horse, you know. You don't really need to tell him how a horse is going. He can tell you, you know, just by watching them, and he's a genius.
Yeah, it must be exciting coming in here every day. You have a new horse to ride sometimes. Like, it's such a fantastic success story, the Willie Mullins yard, all the success at Cheltenham and Galway coming up as well. There must be a real buzz around the place, and you got people that support you like Paul and Ruby's here and David Casey and Patrick.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's where else would you want to work, really? It's the best in the country, the best in Ireland and England, and probably one of the best in the world. So you best of horses, best of staff. Yeah, no, sure, where else would you want to be?
So what's the kind of modus operandi now? What do you need to kind of equipment-wise get together before you start riding these lots?
Yeah, I must just go down now and get pads out of the drying room and get my saddle and get myself ready and
get a helmet.
Pack up, yeah.
Very good. Jody, now you're going to meet your first horse of the day.
This is him.
What's his name?
This is We'll Have One. This is the horse I won the few races on for Dad last year.
Very good.
So he was actually a homebred down home, so.
They're all individuals.
Yeah.
They're all unique. How did you get to know them, their personality? How do you sense each individual, as it were?
Should they nearly tell you themselves, most of them, you know.
And is he a hurdler, a chaser?
He won 2 over hurdles last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over fences now. He can mix it with both, you know. He has enough scope to jump a fence as well. He ran a point-to-point for Dad, so yeah.
So what will you do with him now today?
He's going to work today, so you'll see when we go out the gallops a mile long, and we work them just down one straight, kind of.
So Great White Shark won that amateur race with you 3 years ago. She was a mare, she was a grey, unusually. How does this guy compare? Totally different type of horse?
Totally different type of horse. She could be quite keen and things at home as well. Isn't everyone used to like riding her, but yeah, no, they'd be completely different. She was quite sweet as well, you know. She didn't have any badness in her or anything, sure. But she just could be a little bit keen if she wanted to be. Ready for road, aren't you, Sean?
Willie Mullins, like, what a legend. What he's built here is just incredible. An Irish sporting success story, 10 Cheltenham winners, this magnificent stable here in Close Sutton. What have you learned from Willie over the years?
Plenty. Like I said, I started coming here when I was 13. I never learned anything anywhere else, so everything I know really, apart from down home, came from here. I had a great background, obviously growing up with Dad. I started off showing and then show jumping and whatnot, and did a little bit of pony racing, not too much. I'd say Dad was trying to shove me onto the show jumping, but I got going. Then I had my first ride in a point-to-point for Dad, was a winner, and sure the hunger started to grow then, and I'd say he knew he'd lost me at that stage. But yeah, no, then I started to come up here a bit more often, and my first ride for Willie in the bumper was a winner as well, so we were off to a great start. And he's been very good to me, you know.
Willie and Jody seemed to have a bit of luck together as well, you know. But he gave her a chance when she started first, and you know, I think listening to them, they seem to get on quite well. So hopefully their luck can continue, and you know, if when you're riding for Willie, even with Patrick there, when you're riding the second strings, you always have a chance when you go out on one of Willie's.
You'd learn loads here. You're riding out with the best. Ruby to be here the odd morning, David Casey, Patrick, Paul, Danny, the list goes on, you know, of the lads that are here, and they're always willing to give you a hand. Rachel comes in the odd day, sure, she's been a great role model for every woman in sport, not to mind women in racing, you know. So yeah, no, it's the best place to be really, isn't it?
Did that show jumping eventing background help you in terms of grounding, in terms of your riding?
It did, definitely. You know, you learn all the basics, and it's very easy to hop up on a racehorse there, pull up your irons and look stylish, but if you can't get them balanced and get them to carry you properly and things, it definitely helps, you know.
I love people with a good jumping background, especially show jumping and eventing, hunting, anything like that. It just shows they're very comfortable on a horse, and that showed in Jody's makeup from the very start. You could put her on anything, it didn't seem to faze her. She's a great ability to settle horses. You know, horses that other people couldn't hold, Jody just sits up on them, becomes part of the horses.
Has your style changed much, your riding style, over the last few years, like in terms of what you learned?
I say I have my own way of riding now, and everyone kind of knows that.
What is that?
Just try and keep things simple. If you're on one of Willie's, you're usually on one of the best horses in the race.
She's always riding to be running through the line. You know, she rarely hits the front too soon. She likes to get her horses settled early on, and like I said, she likes to stay out of trouble. So yeah, you know, some people don't like going wide, but it's something that Willie would never be afraid of. You know, going wide, getting a clear run, getting some nice ground. And that's how she rides tactically, and it works very well for her most of the time.
She rides quietly. She seems to have a good knack of getting them in the right place, and she can smuggle one into a race without them probably knowing it. So she's a kind rider, and horses seem to run for her, and that's what it's all about.
I'm not sure everyone could ride like she does, but she has the knack for it.
You've got a strong, close relationship with Paul.
Yeah, I do. Sure, Paul was young enough when he moved out, so I was only 8, I'd say 8 or 9, and so since I came up here now, and I always stay with Paul, and sure, it's great, we've great crack together, and I think the big part was when I actually started out, it was great to have him. Joe, the weight room can be a fairly daunting place to walk into by yourself, but he was always there if I ever needed anything, you know.
They do. Paul is much quieter than Jody. He wasn't always that way, but he is now. And yeah, they work well together. You know, oftentimes it can be hard to work with family, but they seem to spark off each other.
Paul and Jody get on very well. They're not in competition for one another. I think Paul keeps an eye out for his sister, and you know, we always discuss if I want to put Jody over jumps, I discuss it with Paul first whether this horse would be suitable for Jody. You know, he looks after her like an older brother should.
You were out for 9 months, so you broke your back.
Yeah, I got a fall schooling. It was simple fall, you know, it could happen to anyone, and I knew as soon as I got up something was wrong, but I fractured my T12 vertebrae, and it was just whatever, it wasn't a simple fracture, you know, it was compressed in, like it was just pressing on my spinal cord, so they had to operate, and I had 6 screws and 2 rods put in, but like as soon as I was out of the operation, I up and walking straight away because everything was stabilised, you know.
Well, there's a few complications though then.
And then I thought it was going to be straightforward till I was up and I was away and there was no bother with me, and I suppose it was 8 to 10 weeks later when things were supposed to be getting better that they weren't, you know. And it all flared up and there was an infection found in it, and so they washed it out, and then that wasn't enough. So when they looked deeper into the swabs and stuff, the infection had gone into the bone. So all the metalwork had to be taken out and stuff because obviously washing it out wasn't enough. So then I was on a drip for 6 weeks after that, and that had a job keep me off the horse for those 6 weeks with the drip hanging out of my arm. I'm sure I did sneak up and do a show jumper home once or twice, but we keep that in the quiet. Okay. But yeah, no, sure, I was ready to get the drip out in, and sure, when you're feeling well, it's hard not to do anything, you know, when you just want to get back, and everything was after clearing up at that stage, and once I got the drip out, I was back riding out the racehorses.
How did you keep yourself going just mentally? Like, was it tough at times?
Yeah, it was. There was a few long nights now, Joe.
I suppose the injury was, yeah, it was hard for the injury itself was bad enough, and then the afterwards of that just prolonged, excuse me, the recovery for so long, and you know, we were seeing her and that she, like the bones were mending, but you know, she wasn't getting any relief from the pain of it, so she went through a fair old time of it.
I suppose it was grand until the infection, you know, and then you're waiting to get back and you're saying, am I ever going to get back? Like, so yeah, no, it was tough, but I suppose it makes all the success even sweeter.
And that success on Great White Shark in that big amateur race, the Connacht Hotel Handicap at Galway.
It's the one race that all the amateurs want to win, and you know, lots of guys go through the career and never win it. That's
the sort of race, like, you know, Nina Carver never won it, Katie Walsh never won it, I've never won it. I don't think Ted ever won it.
I believe you didn't even find out that you were riding the horse till very late.
Yeah, no, it was 5 minutes before 12 o'clock, I'd say, the day declarations before I was dropped off on her, and sure, it's great. I was delighted. I was only after a few rides back. I wasn't really expecting to get anything in the race, and she had a lightweight, so it was great that Willie put me up on her.
Any of Willie's horses have a chance. He doesn't run them just for the sake of running them, so you have to take the opportunities when they come, and I think Jody doesn't leave very much behind.
What do you remember about the day itself, the instructions, the way the race panned out?
Yeah, no, he told me she can be quite keen, like, so if she was settled, to leave her settle. And yeah, no, she did, thank God. She jumped out and she dropped the whole lot for me.
All locked away. And they're off. Prominent in the early stages towards the inside Act in Time and Prospectus. League of Spin is close up. Brazos improves towards the outside.
When I got one run up the hill, she started to motor for me.
Baba Boom not far behind him. Mr. Adjudicator is on the rail with a white cap, tracking the leading group. New Cross outside them, then Great White Shark. Literal C is towards the inner.
I suppose it took me a few strides after the line to think what happens, you know.
Final four, Great White Shark, Chess Grandmaster, Rovetta and Great Trango. And they have about 5.5 furlongs to race. They're tightly grouped as they head to the turn at the top of the hill. Oil Illusion coming round them as they straighten up. Never Rushicon in the black colours in the centre of the track. Prospectus, Dalton Highway with the noseband down the outside. Shakespeare's Galley. Great White Shark staying on well down the outside. And Literal C and Great White Shark has come through to lead. Great White Shark and Jody Townend stretching on to win the Connaught Hotel Handicap from Dalton Highway in second. Literal C third. Mr. Adjudicator was fourth ahead of Never Rushicon and Baba Boom.
It was mighty, and you know the crowds were there back then as well. Like they're going to be back again this year and be back to normal. And just walking back in, you know, the atmosphere. Sure, I say it didn't really hit me till a few days after what was after happening, really, you know.
It was a mighty day for us all. She was obviously coming back from an injury, so that kind of put her back, her name in people's minds again. And you know, in this game, when you're missing, you're forgotten about very quickly. So you know, it's the feature race for the amateurs up there, and you know, it's a highlight of any amateur's career to win that.
Come back and win in Galway, win the race that every amateur wants to win, was fantastic. I think everyone was delighted for her.
Said it's hard to even describe, like, Joe. It was a little bit overwhelming. I suppose it was my first winner back, even, and for it to be in that race, you know, it's such a big race, and the atmosphere, Galway, and I'd never had a Galway winner before, not to mind to win that race. And yeah, like I said, all the interviews, and even now I'd go back and watch the race, you know. If you're having a bad day, whatever, it was just, I know, it was magic, you know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Connaught Hotel Qualified Riders Handicap has thrown up an exciting finish, and please welcome back in our winner. It's Great White Shark in the colours of owner Malcolm Denmark, trained by the champion trainer Willie Mullins, and ridden to victory by Jody Townend. So well done indeed.
Yeah, we were slagging Patrick that he hasn't won yet.
Good. We keep it that way now this year.
It hasn't been Patrick's luckiest race, but there we are, you know.
Jody has won there, and I have to catch up with her. Since she's come back from that injury, she's just continued to improve and improve and improve. And a bit like Rachel Blackmore, every opportunity she's got, she's taken it.
Yeah, myself and Paddy have a great little bit of rivalry, in fairness. So you knock a bit of banter out of it as well, you know.
During the race?
Sometimes, yes.
He told us earlier on that when you won on Great White Shark at Galway in that massive amateur derby, wasn't even there.
No, he went off home.
What?
I think they were sitting outside the chipper in Burr.
Unfortunately, I'd hit the road home and was watching it in the car on the way home, so I got a bit of slagging over that.
I think he was kind of regretting that all right at the time, but I didn't leave it down for a while.
What's your ambition then, going the next few years?
I suppose I haven't ridden at Cheltenham yet. I'd love to get a spin in Cheltenham and keep my name on that trophy for the ladies' title, I think.
Yeah, everyone's targeting Galway now. It's harder and harder to get into the Galway hurdle or the Galway plate. You need such a high level of horse now just to get into the race. So it's prize money. They're two valuable pots, and you know, they're for the summer months. They're the market races, I suppose, aren't they? You know, and Galway's such a big festival, always gets a good crowd, and yeah, the competition is ramping up there every year.
Look, Galway have been tremendous, improving their track and improving their prize money and looking after everyone. You know, from punters, trainers, owners, everyone gets looked after. It's a huge meeting.
You'd like to try and win the plate, and the obvious one that stands out is the Connaught Hotel's handicap on the Monday.
It's going to be fantastic this year, I think, with all the full crowds. You know, the people are absolutely bursting to get back to Galway, and with full everything open as normal. So we're all looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to having crowds back there and having that atmosphere there, because it's a unique festival in that there's more of a party atmosphere at Galway than there is at any other festival.
And the laughing assassin or smiling assassin, is that a phrase that's been associated with you?
No. I don't know where he thought of that one.
Very good.
I think my son Patrick crowned Jody Smiling Assassin, because every time in a race that she goes by him, she's just laughing. It should have been Laughing Assassin, but she just laughs at Patrick, and I think he enjoyed it too.
No, I didn't call her that, but I seem to hear the Jaws music anytime I feel her coming on my outside.
Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.